Just ahead on CTV News, College Park residents head to the polls to elect a new city council member. Plus,
Marylanders have 56 days to become Real ID compliant. I'm Byron Scott. Will have that story coming up.
and Simon Buggs has our Tuesday sports page. Those stories and more on CTV News starting now. Good evening, this is CTV News for March 11th. I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, we have another special election in the county today. This time it's in city government. CTV's Bryce Parker is in College Park with more.
It's special election day here at City Hall in College Park for the vacant District 3 City Council seat. And right now, all three of the candidates, one of them, a student at the University of Maryland, are making their final pitches to voters just moments before they cast their ballots.
As a 20-year-old, as this election is before my 21st birthday this Saturday, it's a lot of emotions here. I feel honored.
It's a roller coaster, you feel all the things, you're excited for what might be, and you're wondering if you did enough.
Coming to this day, giving it everything you got, and then just having to wait and sit at peace with whatever happens.
One by one, voters climb their way up the College Park City Hall steps to decide who they want as their next representative.
Been actually a lot of fun to go, meet the neighbors and door knock, find out the concerns that, you might not have heard of before.
To be out here just meeting people where they're at and understanding, every person differently and having that, human connection is like what I really enjoy doing.
But to enjoy victory in this race, one of these candidates will have to convince enough voters that they can make a significant impact on local politics.
I do believe that, we should be the change that we want to see in the world, especially at the local level. This is a city council election, and we have the ability to work together as a community to actually shape local policy.
You hope that that people actually really connect with the message that you're trying to send out there.
So many in our communities are suffering from, especially the current administration and the bad governance. We can really do something well here on the local level. I mean, we can't change the international, the national scene in a drop of a hat, but here we can try to build a community that we're proud of.
Reporting from College Park, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
All right, Bryce, thanks so much. There's still time to vote in the special election. Polls close at 8 p.m., and the only location you can cast your ballot is at the College Park City Hall. And the time is ticking for Republicans in Congress to pass a stopgap spending bill and avert a partial government shutdown. The deadline is March 14th, and though the GOP controls Congress, they still need Democrat support to keep the government running through September. This will be the third continuing resolution since last October because there hasn't been any progress on the annual government funding bills. Now, for the stopgap bill to pass in the House, Speaker Mike Johnson needs the support of nearly every GOP lawmaker. If he doesn't get it, he'll have to reach across the aisle and negotiate a bipartisan agreement with Democrats. The bill is set for a crunch time vote tonight. And the Trump administration warns dozens of colleges they could lose federal funding if they don't stop protests against Israel and the Gaza war. 4 local schools are on the list, including American University, George Mason, UVA, and Johns Hopkins. They've been accused of failing to protect Jewish students and uphold civil rights laws against anti-Semitism. Columbia University has already lost $400 million in funding. The administration is expected to keep cracking down on campus demonstrations and may even deport involved students. And could D.C. become a part of Maryland? It's very unlikely, but if the district wanted to escape growing pressure from the Trump administration, Maryland Representative Jamie Raskin tells D.C. to let him know if they need to come back to Maryland to get through this nightmare. For the meantime, Raskin, who has been a vocal supporter of D.C.'s statehood, made the comment in response to President Trump expressing interest in controlling the nation's capital. D.C. residents and lawmakers have their eyes set on statehood. And Marylanders have just 56 days to get their Real ID driver's licenses. The deadline is May 7th, and individuals 18 years old and over who want to board an airplane or enter a secure federal facility must have it. The good news for Maryland, the state is 99% Real ID compliant. Officials made that announcement at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport today. Implementation of Real ID was delayed 4 times due to the impact of the COVID pandemic. Now, even if you are not Real ID compliant, there are other forms of ID that will get you on your flight.
Some other forms of ID that are acceptable if you do not have a Real ID, of course, is your government-issued passport that has to be valid. You can also have a DHS Trusted Traveler card that is also acceptable as a identification. Global Entry, Nexus, those are some of the IDs that are valid. For those that need to see a list of acceptable IDs, you can go to TSA website, the public-facing website, and on there it will tell you what IDs are acceptable other than the Real ID.
And that website, again, is tsa.gov. But again, the Real ID deadline is May 7th. For more information on that, go to mvamaryland.gov. And Prince George's County Police are investigating a fatal crash in Adolphi Monday morning. The crash happened at the intersection of Adolphi Road and Riggs Road. A passenger in one of the vehicles, identified as Berta Calendris of Hyattsville, was taken to the hospital where she died a few hours later. Both of the drivers involved suffered minor injuries, and the cause of the crash is still under investigation. Anyone with any information is asked to call 301-731-4422. And a man is sentenced to life in prison for a robbery turned murder almost 2 years ago. Rico Booknight and Jeffrey Coachman were both arrested and charged for killing 19-year-old Taziah Gaither in June of 2023. According to the county's state's attorney's office, Booknight and Coachman were both at a Temple Hills convenience store when Gaither attempted to rob Coachman. Coachman fought Gaither off, but Booknight shot the 19-year-old 13 times while he was on the ground. Coachman then proceeded to run Gaither over with his car. Booknight was sentenced to life plus 30 years, and Coachman is scheduled to be sentenced on Wednesday. And the state's budget woes are impacting youth mental health services. 4 out of every 5 public schools in Maryland are receiving aid for mental health services that helps more than 58,000 students. But with the state facing a huge budget deficit, lawmakers have cut $70 million of the $110 million Governor Wes Moore recommended for the services. Advocates say such huge cuts will get rid of much-needed services for students. Members of the General Assembly say if the cuts go through, so will some of the programs. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, changes are constantly happening in education. After the break, find out how supportive Marylanders are improving education and where our school district currently ranks nationwide.
Okay, Dad, look at you.
I look nice, don't I?
I see you.
Adding your own flavor to fashion comes with age.
Oh, man, that's the best one yet.
Forgetting how to add doesn't. Finding it difficult to work with numbers may be a sign of Alzheimer's.
Dad, are you okay?
An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one.
High school.
Hey, Dad. Do you want to talk about what happened earlier?
Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's. Some things come with age. Some others don't.
Love is a lesson that doesn't end. It knows no conditions, so you better buckle in. Love keeps you on your toes. It never stops, only grows. Love isn't easy, it's a commitment, especially when they're being their most resistant. Love is finding the right seat so you can take a breath. But remember, love isn't lax, it always double checks. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. In just a matter of days, the county's top leader will unveil her budget for Prince George's. Acting County Executive Tara Jackson will reveal her 2026 proposed budget this Thursday. This comes at a time where the county is facing a $170 million budget deficit. That means tough decisions will need to be made to get the county out of the red. CTV News spoke exclusively to Fire Chief Tiffany Green about whether she thinks her department will see cuts.
I think everyone's going to be receiving budget cuts, just given the climate of where we are confident that we'll be able to work with our council members and our leadership to make sure that the service is able to be delivered in Prince George's County.
Again, the acting county executive's address will be this Thursday, March 13th at 1 p.m. And multiple county organizations are collaborating for a federal employee career transition and resource fair. That fair will be held tomorrow morning at the Hotel University of Maryland at 10 a.m. Acting Prince George's County Executive Tara Jackson says this job fair is a vital step in providing resources, support, and opportunities that federal employees need to navigate this challenging period and secure a brighter future. Prince George's County is home to over 40,000 residents employed in federal government roles. And Maryland voters support improving public schools, but many oppose raising taxes to fund the blueprint for Maryland's future. A new poll from Gonzalez Research Media shows 50% of voters oppose tax hikes, with 87% of Republicans and 48% of independents against it. Maryland faces a $3 billion deficit in the 2026 budget, with deficits reaching $6.3 billion approximately by 2030 due to the cost of the education plan. And several school employees have filed a wage theft lawsuit against the Prince George's County school system. According to reports, 7 athletic directors allege that the school district was supposed to be paid hourly rates beginning at $60 an hour. However, the plaintiffs, who many are also teachers as well as athletic directors, say they were paid $30 an hour. The plaintiffs allege that they are owed back pay ranging from $9,000 to more than $39,000. And Prince George's County Public Schools are celebrating a major milestone. The class of 2024 saw a jump in its graduation rate, hitting about 80%, a 5.6% increase from last year. Hispanic students surged with a nearly 12% rise, while English learners saw an impressive 14.6% boost. African American students now have a graduation rate of 84.7%, and we spoke with key leaders at today's principals meeting about the impact of these gains.
This past year, we were able to increase that rate by 22 percentage points. So as a school and as a principal, I was really excited about that. And some of the things that we really had to hone in was on re-engaging our students.
I was very excited and just thankful for the work that the principals and the school teams are doing to actually implement our motto, which is graduating students one diploma at a time.
And this milestone highlights the district's ongoing commitment to breaking barriers, especially for historically underserved students. Meanwhile, Prince George's County Public Schools is once again leading the way in educator excellence, ranking among the top 20 districts nationwide for National Board Certified teachers. This year, 97 educators earned National Board certifications, while 27 teachers successfully renewed theirs. With this latest achievement, PGCPS now boasts 635 National Board Certified teachers, 503 with active certifications. And so to come on CTV News, it's our COVID-versary. Can you believe it's been 5 years? After the break, we take a look back on the global pandemic that changed how we view the world and each other. We'll be right back in a moment.
We are women first, but women with disabilities last.
During a military exercise, we crashed and I broke my neck.
When I was in the Air Force, an accident changed my life. I couldn't have imagined the injustices I would face.
Every day, women like me go to the doctor for annual checkups for conditions like breast cancer. Early detection saved my life. But women with disabilities face a cruel reality: inaccessible medical facilities and equipment.
In the 25 years since my injury, I have not seen a gynecologist. There's not one accessible OB/GYN in my community.
I found lumps in my breast. I went to a doctor's office I was told was accessible, but when I got there, I couldn't get through the front door.
I don't know where I'd be today without access to testing. Our veterans deserve better. Help PVA fight for access at pva.org.
If words were enough, I would help you bear your burden. I would watch each child of yours grow strong and true. Teach them to read and to write and to sing so that their voices be forgotten nevermore. If words were enough, I would sate your hunger and you would know you are my sister, my brother, my child. If words were enough.
It's so hard to predict a sick kid who just keep getting sicker, but we needed to be together as a family. My family is my entire life. My family means the world to me.
When we're together and we have support from Ronald McDonald House, we can be a little stronger. They provide food and a place to rest your head, and they will help you through every step. That's what gets you through every day when you don't know how else you're gonna make it.
It makes you feel like you're not alone.
With the weather changing, you might be seeing that summer vacation in your future, but get ready for another charge to fly the friendly skies. Southwest Airlines will start charging passengers to check bags for the first time. Free check bags have been a staple in Southwest's low-cost model for decades, and the airline's executives have said it was a major reason why customers chose the airline. This puts Southwest in line with other domestic airlines, which together made more than $5 billion in bag fees last year. This is the latest strategy Southwest is using to bring in more cash. Last July, it announced it was ditching its open seating policy. And yesterday was Harriet Tubman Day, and the Maryland Department of Transportation announced archaeological findings from a home the famed abolitionist once lived in. The artifacts were found at the site of Ben Ross's home, the home where a teenage Harriet Tubman lived with her father in Dorchester County. The Ross home, which is deep in wetlands of the Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge, is not open to the public. However, MDOT created a virtual museum to share the history and interesting artifacts found. To check out these cool artifacts and learn more about the Ben Ross home, visit m.maryland.gov and search Tubman. Well, it has been exactly 5 years since the World Health Organization declared the COVID-19 virus to be a pandemic. Since the deadly virus spread across the country, more than 1.2 million Americans have died. The early days of the pandemic led to schools closing, in-person classes, as well as government buildings and businesses shutting down. During the pandemic, states sprang into action, testing residents for COVID while medical professionals worked to develop a vaccine. Once the vaccine was created, federal, state, and local leaders pushed the need for COVID vaccinations. And the county is providing support to an African country in need. The Prince George's Fire Department is donating $150,000 worth of old personal protective gear to Liberian first responders. The gear includes helmets, boots, and coats that the agency is no longer using. Officials from the Liberian embassy say many first responders in Liberia don't have the necessary equipment to safely do their jobs.
Many times with fires that go on in Liberia, oftentimes EMS is not able to get there in time to save them. And you know, we complain here if we have an EMS that doesn't show up within 5 minutes. There are some people, sometimes they would never show up because of the roads and all of those things.
To you, it may look small, but to us, it's a good beginning, it's a good start. Our firefighters in Liberia are looking for ways and means to look dressed up because we'll be having multiple fire incidents in Liberia.
Officials say the gear will be cleaned before it's sent to Liberia. And the Commanders are teaming up with Flag Star Football to offer youth football camps this summer. Boys and girls ranging from 2nd to 9th grade will be eligible to take place in Commanders camps starting March 31st. 40 single-day and week-long camps will be held in D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. To register, visit commanderscamp.com. And Simon Buggs is here with our Tuesday Sports page.
What's going on, everybody? Don't go anywhere because coming right up, I got the chance to speak to one of the most talented rushers in the state, Camille Johnson. I'll have more what she had to say coming right up on CTV Sports. Be right back.
The doctor said I only had a 29% chance to find you. But I knew you were out there. Every night, even when my heart was sad, I wished for you to sign up. I got so sick that I couldn't go to school, but I still made people laugh. But when we matched, it was the best day ever. Dear donor, your blood stem cells saved me from leukemia. Thank you forever and ever and ever. Sincerely, Owen.
Experience the true joy of saving a life at nmdp.org.
Out! Out! Everybody out! Come on!
Good job. Under 2 minutes.
Keep your loved ones safe from home fires. Practice a 2-minute drill until it's part of your routine. And test your smoke alarms monthly.
There's nearly 678,290,000 kids under 5 around the world. But what's so important about being 5? Well, children who live to age 5 are twice as likely to reach adulthood. That's why vaccines matter so much. For 40 years, Rotary and partners have delivered vaccines globally. Like here and even here, in your neighborhood and around the world, Rotary is ensuring children grow up safe from preventable diseases.
All right, everybody, I hope you're ready because it's finally time for your Tuesday sports page. We begin with some high school wrestling news.
Well, I was walking down the hallway and I saw a flyer and I was just like, that could be cool. And I just started wrestling.
And the rest was history for Potomac High School wrestler Camille Johnson. As fast forward just 3 years later, the junior is now one of the best wrestlers in the state. In just 3 years, Johnson has been a Blair Girls finalist, a champion at the Women's Clash at the Creek Tournament, and was the first and only female wrestler to become an All-American for the Wolverines. But although the Lady Wolverine accomplished as much as she did, there were some lows that came with the highs as well.
There was matches I could have won. There was matches that I could have won if I had done some things differently. There was matches that I could have won if I had just, been maybe a different color. But like, you can only learn from it, right? You should take your losses and you should win. Like, you can't really learn from winning. You learn more from losing. So you should take your losses and be like, oh, this is how I learned from it.
Now, a person that has played a big role in Johnson's development is her head coach, Deron Celestin. Celestin had been Johnson's head coach since she began wrestling in the 9th grade, and he told me whether or not he thought his mentee would be as special as she's been.
Camille is the second girl that I've actually coached. The first girl was probably equally as tough, but I saw a greater potential in Camille with how she worked with the other team members, 99% other than herself, male. When she first stepped on the mat, the way she handled herself wrestling both boys and girls, I just knew at that point it was something different.
Possibly the biggest milestone Johnson achieved was that she became the school's first black female regional champion last season, and she reflected on the match that put her name in the history books.
I almost got pinned in the first period. I almost got cradled, and then it wasn't even really like I have to be a regional champion. It was a situation I felt like I have to win this because I should, and I'm just not about to let this cradle, have me lose. I should be winning this match. Not even just a tournament, not even just to become like a regional champion, but I know this is the match that I should win. So I'm just like, I can't get cradled, so I kicked out the cradle, took a shot, worked on top, and then I ended up getting the cradle.
With Johnson going into her senior year soon, her high school career is coming to a close, and she touched on the type of impact she wants to make sure she leaves behind.
I want to be remembered as a person who set the standard on and off the mat.
I look forward to seeing what you do on the mat in the future, Camille. And wrapping up sports, congratulations to Terp center Derek Queen for being named the Big Ten Freshman of the Year. Queen helped the team finish the regular season with a 24-7 record, while leading the team in points with 16, and was second on the team in boards with 10. The Baltimore native is the second Terp to earn a Conference Major Player Award since Aaron Wiggins back in 2020. Queen and the rest of the team will take the court next on Friday in the Big Ten tournament. And that wraps up your Tuesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
All right, Simon, thanks so much. Let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be mostly clear. Tomorrow's going to be mostly sunny with a high of 61 and a low of 42. Thursday will be partly sunny, and it's going to be 66 degrees. Friday is going to be 62 degrees and partly sunny to kick off the weekend. And for our community calendar this Friday, the city of Hyattsville is hosting Night Owls. Night Owls offers fun, interactive, and educational activities for children in grades K through 5. Night Owls runs from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Driscoll Park Recreation Center. But for more information, contact 301-985-5000. That's all the time we have for CTV News. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.